Hello, Insomniacs. It is Kurious Cyclopes
And Steve.
Welcome back to another episode of Never Sleep Again TV. Today we're going to talk about coolest monsters. So, we're just going to show a couple of our personal favorites, and then we're going to rely on you to fill us in on your favorites. So, Steve, you want to start off the favorite monsters or coolest monsters?
We talked a little bit about it before, but the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Absolutely. So what do you think overall as a monster?
He's just weird. I think that's why I like him so much. Like, with the wings and the weird tongue shit and stuff. He's just kind of cool and weird.
Yeah, he is really weird. I think it's hard to pull off a humanoid monster. Because, he kind of has the build of a man.
Right.
But, especially for when it came out, I haven't seen a monster that original in so long, which is literally the number one reason why I fucking loved the Jeepers Creepers so much. And he could smell your fear literally, and he has that whole classic it tastes better.
Yeah.
When you're scared. And come on, he has fucking wings. And what's up with his face opening up?
Right.
Like that? Definitely was a nice impact on the horror world because, like I said, it's hard to make original monsters.
Right.
So I agree that he is definitely a notable monster.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, we're still excited for the sequel.
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
As excited as we can be.
Yeah, we're as excited as we can be. Obviously, we haven't seen a trailer
or
nothing yet, but, I'm hopeful for it.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to start off with, they always call him the king of the monsters, and I guess it depends on who you ask, but Godzilla.
Yeah.
Even probably before I even saw a single Godzilla movie, back then my parents got me, a big Godzilla that his eyes would light up red, and he would roar. It came with a comic book.
Damn.
And they also got me Mecha King Ghidorah. So, it wasn't long after that I, would rent the Godzilla movies, but I fucking love Godzilla, especially his son, Minya. He's so awesome.
Yeah. But,
I love Godzilla, and obviously he's like the king of the kaijus, so it's cool that, he kind of inspired a whole nother wave of giant monster movies in Japan. And I guess the original one was supposed to be scary because, back then they were worried about, nuclear bombs and, radiation because, they had all those scares because of the war back then. But, so it was cool to, this is the side effect of all that, chemical weapon shit. It's a giant fucking lizard thing.
Right.
But, dude, Shin Godzilla specifically, oh, God. As well as the old ones and some of the 90s ones, Shin Godzilla is definitely in my top favorite Godzilla iterations. Alright, so let's pass it back to you for...
Well, I guess it's only a natural move that I always kind of lean more towards King Kong over Godzilla.
You son of a... Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I was a kid, I think I liked King Kong.
It's the sympathetic nature. I think it's the man. He's just looking for love in all the wrong places.
I know. Even if he got Fay Ray, what are you gonna do with the little tiny lady?
Right. And I think it helps to see he's just a bigger version of a normal animal that we already see and are kind of oh, look at the cute gorilla or whatever. So
do you have a favorite King Kong? Because I know the original one was a lot smaller than the one from, what was it, the 70s or 80s?
Yeah, I think the 70s one is probably my favorite one.
Me too, because, that was, I didn't even see the entire original at this point.
Right.
But, I always felt very satisfied with the 70s one.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, the one my mom showed to me, and because she likes that one, too. But, obviously I appreciate the original, and I still like how King Kong looked in the first one, even though it's a lot funnier.
Yeah.
But, and I gotta say, of course, I loved King Kong versus Godzilla.
Right.
Because I got to see two of my favorites.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait for the updated version of that.
Yeah, it's the 2020 version. So, King Kong, what did you think about the Peter Jackson one?
It has its good and bad parts, I think.
I tried to watch it. I didn't care for it, but it didn't surprise me because I didn't even like more of the modern Godzilla. The 98 Godzilla, I didn't like the legendary Godzilla. So I didn't care. You know why? I just didn't like how King Kong looked.
Right.
Especially because CGI, they're it's gonna look so good with all the technology now, and I think it didn't look that great.
Yeah. I think another hard part of that was like they tried to turn it into some big like sweeping epic, and now it's like a 3-hour movie, but like didn't do enough to keep your attention throughout that entire movie.
I can't say I've seen it really, but is there a director's cut that's even longer?
I'm sure there is, because it's fucking Peter Jackson.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, King Kong's definitely awesome. So we'll go back to one of mine. All right, so another one of the monsters that I think is the coolest, the Wolfman. The Wolfman had such a huge impact on me when I was a kid, because obviously when you're too young for some of the more gory horror films, you know, my mom let me watch, you know, like the Wolfman, Frankenstein. But I think before I even saw the Wolfman, I saw Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, and just how the Wolfman was moving and jumping around all over the place, and how he was fighting Frankenstein, it made me like relate to it, because I was a wild, you know, energetic kid. So, and for a long time, for many years of my life, it made me have an obsession with werewolves. So it all started with the Wolfman from Universal Monsters, but then it carried on to like Big Wolf on Campus and like, you know, Teen Wolf, and, like, you know, other cool werewolf shit. So, you know, I was always looking for other great werewolf movies. So, you know, of course, American Werewolf in London, The Howling. But you know, I love the Wolfman. And like I said, I didn't even hate the remake all that much, just because I appreciated that they tried to do something with it. But yeah, the classic Wolfman, definitely. He might even be my favorite monster overall. Just wait till we get to the Dark Universe version and they shit all over that. If they even make it that far. Like I said, we heard The Mummy wasn't good, and Dracula Untold, they backpedaled out of that, saying that was the first entry. So, yeah, who knows if they're even going to give us Wolfman, and if they do, when is that going to be, 2025? Yeah, I mean, apparently the only thing keeping that universe afloat right now is the overseas. Like, it made enough money overseas. Really? Yeah. Did they like it over there? I guess so, yeah. Maybe they have like a cult following for Tom Cruise. Maybe. God, yeah, so we'll see what happens with the Wolfman in the future, but I love his appearance in the old black and white ones. Alright, so back to Steve. You know, we debated a little bit before whether I feel like it's actually a monster, but I guess I'll bring it up anyway. But Bruce the shark from Jaws. Yeah. I'll basically find any reason to bring up Jaws. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So, but I mean, you know, it's like a monster of a shark. It's not. And plus, they kind of suggest that, I guess, that he comes back in part 2, because obviously he has like a burned face, right? So I guess that would make him a monster, right? Yeah. Because wasn't it pretty certain that he was dead from the first one? Oh yeah, I mean, he blew up. well, there you go. So yeah, I guess Bruce is a monster. Yeah. He came back for number 2. So. I think he's cool. Yeah, I mean, I just like the effect used of it, too, that it's just not, like, in your face. It's, like, a lot of it you're not even seeing what he's doing or seeing him necessarily, like. And was that the same shark? I know one of the sequels they used the same, like, shark as the first one. I think it was, like, part 4, because that was the one that was, like, this time it's personal. Okay, I thought it might have been that one, but yeah, he's cool. Yeah. Definitely. I count him as a monster, at least once the sequel happens. Right. All right. Another thing. The Thing. Yeah. John Carpenter's The Thing. Jesus, this monster is so cool because every fucking time it either goes into the dog or it goes into a different person. Every creature that it morphs into, because you know it's constantly changing and adapting. Like, it's fucking scary. And my favorite one is when this guy's severed head, spider legs come out of it, and this severed head of a guy is just crawling around a room like a spider. Like, yeah. The Thing is fucking gory as shit. Like, and I wasn't expecting that when I first saw it. So, you know, and it's practical effect heaven. So definitely The Thing. I gotta say that's one of my favorites as well. Definitely one of the coolest. Got any more favorite monsters, or? Yeah, a couple. I feel like I bring this up all the time too, but the Xenomorph from Alien. Rightfully so. Yeah. Also a practical suit. Oh yeah. Real suit, at least in the first one. Even the second one, I'm pretty sure, when they do the giant like queen. Oh my god! Alien. So they actually had a real. Yeah, that was still like a practical build. You always wonder, when shit like that is made, where does it end up? Right. Is there some crazy collector that's hiding the queen? There's gotta be, dude. Basement? like has tea with it.
Yeah, right.
Who fucking knows? But, yeah, I agree. The Xenomorph is cool. What do you think overall, especially with the Alien vs. Predator series, the Prometheus and Covenant? Like, have you seen all those?
Yeah, I've seen them all.
So, what impact do you think the Xenomorph still has today? Because obviously it's still relevant.
Oh yeah, I think it's huge. And in Prometheus, we kind of got away from it a little bit, and it felt
Xenomorph.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it felt, a little different. And then I kind of appreciate it. I know a lot of people didn't love Covenant, but like I kind of liked going back and seeing like how they came to be. Like, it started out as this small thing, and then we experimented on that and became this. And
so you actually see the Xenomorph developing?
Yeah, well, that's why you see that thing they were calling the Neomorph. That's like basically a Xenomorph without the hard like black exterior shell. It almost looks like just human like skin.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool seeing like the different transformations.
Now, obviously, we've had alien movies for so long in our cinema. So even though Alien wasn't nearly one of the oldest Alien films, do you still think it inspired a lot of other films that rip off Alien?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even look-wise?
I would say so, yeah.
Even though it's probably hard to get away with it, because, like, come on.
Right.
You're straight. Because the Xenomorph is so distinct. It's definitely its own alien. Like,
right.
We've never seen something like that before, so.
Well, even, like, I think I was talking to you about this, but I could be wrong, that there's, like, another Cloverfield movie in that universe coming out called God Particle. And, like, reading the description, it sounds like Alien. That's like, oh, there's astronauts on a ship, and then a creature's coming after them. Yeah.
Wow, I wonder if it kind of is going to be a little bit of a ripoff.
Yeah, I mean, it's been there long enough, like you said, to be a huge inspiration on things.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I kind of just want to lump these three together, because I always lump these three together. So, obviously, there's cool monsters that are either a little bit bigger than men or they're giant, but come on, there's something special about tiny little monsters.
Right.
And the only three I ever really think of whenever I think of these, and they're three of my favorite, even from my childhood, I'll say Gremlins, so the Mogwai, so all the Gremlins, Critters, and I actually just saw Critters recently at Emmaus Theater, and Ghoulies. They're all beautiful little puppets that are, God, they're just animated so fucking well, and I'm not saying that they're scary, but there is something a little unsettling about little monsters that are hurting people that are like this fucking big. Like,
right.
It's fucking creepy. They're hiding in your cupboard. They're hiding in a toilet. Like, dude, it's fucking awesome. So yeah, so Gremlins, Critters, and Ghoulies, definitely some of the coolest monsters, and I called those three the holy trinity of small monsters.
Right.
Because even that is kind of like a subgenre of its own. Even though you never hear about, like, oh, let's watch a small monster film.
Right, yeah.
Well, if you ever bring that up, those are the three franchises to go to. And obviously there's sequels to those movies, so
right.
There's plenty of small monster goodness for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we have next?
I got Swamp Thing.
I still haven't seen it, but I know I need to. I really want to.
That's the thing. I know that there's a movie. I've never seen the movie. I'm more partial to Swamp Thing from like his comic book roots, like specifically the Alan Moore run on Swamp Thing. But he's just a cool character overall.
I wonder how faithful they were to the comic.
Yeah, me too.
It seems like a lot of people like them filmed that like the comic.
Right.
So, but yeah, I heard it was really good.
Yeah.
But obviously he looks cool. I don't know much about him, but his look, the design alone is awesome.
It's, your typical like origin story of like scientist, experiment goes wrong, chemical accident turns you into this monster. Like, but he was such a cool character, and like kind of in the King Kong vein, still is like a sympathetic character, which is cool. Like, I think he's just enjoyable. It was nice too. They brought him back in this Justice League animated movie that they did. That was awesome.
Huh. All right. Let's see. I brought this guy up in one of our other videos, but Pumpkinhead, obviously. The thing that makes me love him the most is obviously he's a practical thing that's tangible and he's there.
Right.
His design's amazing. An extremely original monster, extremely original lore. How, like, the witch resurrects him to get revenge for the dad and all that. So his design's awesome, and I appreciate that he has sequels. And from what I've seen, he looks great in all the movies that I've seen. So I love Pumpkinhead. Even one of my friends at a horror convention, he actually got a nice looking bust of Pumpkinhead, like a big life size one.
Oh wow!
I know it was very expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I was very jealous when I saw him have that. So yeah, Pumpkinhead. Even for people that haven't seen the movies, everyone agrees that he looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Really original design. All right, so got another one for us?
Yeah, I only got one more.
All right.
And it's a short-lived monster. You don't necessarily see it for very long in the movie, but the Brundlefly from the Cronenberg remake of The Fly.
Oh. You don't see it much, or?
No, it's, the movie's like a progressive transformation into it, but he's really only in the last couple of minutes of the movie. But I'm such a huge Cronenberg fan, and like I don't like bugs very much, so I kind of always avoided that movie. I was like, man, it's gonna be so gross. But then when I finally watched it, I was just like, man, this is like a fucking masterpiece.
And I love how more recently people lump it in with body horror.
Yeah,
because it's like your body's turning against you, and obviously I know he's falling apart and he gets appendages of the bug, but I actually haven't even seen the whole thing, so. I'm glad you brought that up. That fly itself, like that form, isn't really shown for the last couple minutes.
Yeah,
so that's interesting to note.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, but you really like that form?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's gross, but it's really cool.
Yeah. All right. So another one, extremely original monsters, Tremors. So obviously there are those giant worms that they go fucking like all throughout the underground, through the dirt and all that, and they just come up and they eat your ass, and they're big as shit.
Didn't they call them like the graboids or something like that?
That's right. Thank you. That's what they're actually called. Yeah, the graboids or whatever. So obviously it was a successful franchise. They even had a new movie come out. They had a TV series come out. And one of the sequels, they get like wings. And
wow!
It's really cool. It's definitely awesome for like a more modern creature feature, and it's just, I think it's awesome monsters in general. And then for one last one, the Blob is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't even know what I like more, the Blob or the thing from the raft from Creepshow 2. They're essentially the same thing.
Right.
But, specifically the remake of the Blob and that episode of Creepshow 2, like that segment, that creeped me out, because a blobish form, just that can come through the cracks and just like there's no safe way to get away from it.
Right.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
That was definitely creepy. But yeah, I guess any other thoughts for coolest monsters or any favorites?
I mean, I'm sure there's a fuck ton of them out there, but that's all I got.
All right, well, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for Coolest Monsters. As always, share some favorites with us in the comments section, all right? So comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, so thank you for watching Never Sleep Again TV. Kurious Cyclopes.
And Steve.
And thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.